at the podium. We're very excited to have Mr. Tuthill with us this evening. Although he does not often miss meetings of the Springfield City Council, he has in fact probably attended more meetings of the Springfield City Council than most city councilors, as he has been covering the city of Springfield for more than a decade. Tonight we will read this proclamation into the record, recognizing Mr. Tuthill as he prepares to retire after nearly 50 years in the journalism field. I'll give some brief remarks. We'll hear remarks from our colleagues on the council and then from Mr. Tuthill himself. And so this proclamation is given on this day, December 11th, 2023, and it reads as follows. Whereas Paul Tuthill is the Pioneer Valley Bureau Chief of WAMC Northeast Public Radio, and whereas Mr. Tuthill has amassed nearly 5 decades of experience in the field of journalism, engaging in his first radio reporting as a student at the University of Rochester, and going on to work as the news director for WTAG in Worcester and as a reporter and anchor for WRKO in Boston before joining WAMC in 2007. And whereas Mr. Tuthill's reporting has earned him more than 24 Associated Press Broadcast Awards and an Edward R. Murrow Award for reporting on veterans health care in 2011. And whereas Mr. Tuthill has become a staple and standard bearer of the press corps in Western Massachusetts, covering everything from politics and government to natural disasters, and is widely respected by his colleagues and those with whom he engages professionally. And whereas Mr. Tuthill has announced that he will be retiring from his position in 2023, now therefore be it proclaimed that the City Council of Springfield, Massachusetts hereby recognizes, congratulates, thanks, and celebrates Paul Tuthill for his service to the people of the City of Springfield and the Western Massachusetts community as a journalist and his leadership at WAMC Northeast Public Radio, wishing him the best in all of his future endeavors. This proclamation is sponsored on December 11th, 2023 in honor of Paul Tuthill. It's entered into the records of the City of Springfield for posterity by the clerk, Gladys Oyola Lopez, signed and authored by President Jesse Letterman and all members of the City Council. Mr. Tuthill, on behalf of the City of Springfield, thank you and congratulations.
Thank you.
You know, over my time as a member of the council, I've had an opportunity to present proclamations to a number of retiring journalists. One of them is here today, your colleague, Mr. Mike Dobbs, Cynthia Simison, Wayne Faniff, Peter Goonan. And I've always made it a point to make sure that we take a time to recognize the role that journalists and the news publication and media play in our community, because we know that communities that have active local news bureaus are healthier in every single sense of the word. And for nearly 50 years, Paul, you have been an individual who has worked extraordinarily hard to keep that going. I often say that proclamations really tell the story of Springfield, and that story is the story of all of us, but you've been telling that story for more than a decade, and on so many issues really have been sort of the voice of Western Massachusetts in a great deal, in a great many ways. And so for me, especially as the final proclamation that I will issue as City Council President, you've certainly been interviewing me since I was about 13 years old, and so it's a special honor for me to present this to you tonight. And so with that, we will hear from our colleagues relative to their comments. We'll begin with Councilor Edwards.
Thank you, Mr. President. Paul, it's a particular honor for me. You've been here long enough to know me very well, and I greatly appreciate our private, off-the-record conversations. You have kept my confidence more than once, and it's as we try to find the right words to say how much we appreciate you, I sincerely am bittersweet in the sense that I am sad to see you leave, but I'm happy to see you start a new journey in your life, and it be by choice. So I wish you nothing but goodwill and hope that you will always feel confident knowing that this council and my colleagues hopefully would agree that your service and your dedication to your craft has not gone unnoticed or unappreciated. May God bless you.
Thank you very kindly.
Thank you, Councilor Edwards. Councilor Govan.
Thank you, Mr. President. And, Paul, I've just gotten familiar personally in the last couple of years, although I've been watching you over the last decade, and I commend your professionalism, your caring about our city, and the reporting that you do, and I'm just going to continue to follow you because I don't think that this is it. Like I said earlier, I think, we got to keep moving. So I hope you do that. And certainly Indian Orchard will be proud welcome you in some capacity. I asked him to help us out with a newsletter.
I've already
I'm
got
already putting him to work.
already got my post-retirement employment
Yeah.
lined up here, thanks to Zeta.
But thank you,
and
Paul.
me both. Thank you, Councilor Govan. Councilor Allen?
Thanks, Mr. President. Yeah, Paul, this came up surprisingly on me. I didn't realize this was happening. So glad to be here. I'm not glad that you're leaving. I enjoyed working with you. And I think Councilor Govan, I like her use of the word caring. I also like her use of the word professionalism. And I would add to that class. You've always been there in your own quiet way. You seem to be in an awful lot of things and seem to know a lot about the city because of your consistent presence at things. And you've always carried yourself extremely, in an extremely respectful and professional manner. So appreciate that. Always felt that you cared about what you were talking about, what you were asking about, and that's nice. Really glad that we've had you to work with, and it'd be hard to fill your shoes with whoever's next, but thank you for what you've done.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. And we also have Councilor Walsh with us virtually.
Is it my turn to say something?
Yes, Councilor Walsh.
Oh, well, thank you, Mr. President. And Paul, I'm happy for you, but I was so disturbed to see your news that you're going to be leaving us and retiring. As my colleagues have said, you're at every event, you're fair, you're honest, you always are positive and put Springfield forward and put Springfield forward in a great light. And I am truly sorry to be seeing you go. I hope it's to greener pastures.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Walsh, and all councilors haven't been heard. Paul, we will now hand the floor over to you, perhaps for the first time.
Very strange.
Although the many times that you have been in this chamber, the floor is yours.
Many times I've been in this chamber. First time I think I've ever been up here. I'm not going to give a speech because I'm afraid if I get really rolling, I might bump into the Fenton rule. We don't.
That's an inside joke.
It's a little inside joke, yes. But in any event, I really appreciate all the kind words that have been spoken here tonight. I appreciate this honor. You mentioned some of the august company I'm now placed in with the proclamations, including my friend and colleague over here, Mike Dobbs. And Mike, thank you for coming tonight. I appreciate that very much. And I'm turning away from the microphone, so the folks at Focus are getting angry with me now. So sorry about that. Again, I appreciate this very, very much. I'm going to take the proclamation. I'm going to have it framed. I'm going to put it in my home office, and I will recall this night for many, many years to come. Again, thank you very, very kindly.
Thank you, Paul. And Paul, we'll invite you forward to take a picture with the members of the City Council. Council will stand adjourned until 7 o'clock.